Homage watches is one of the topics that's highly debated in the watch community. Some say it's just one step away from buying clones and they're just piggybacking off the work of others. Some say it's a great way to experience a watch you want on a budget. Now, I'm not entirely against Homage watches because I actually own a lot of them. However, I do have a preference for watches that do not look like exact copies of hype pieces because I don't want to be in the scenario where, oh my gosh, you got the data? Oh. In today's economy, it's really hard to splurge on a depreciating asset, which, let's face it, if you're in the affordable watch space, everything is pretty much a depreciating asset. We all have to be discerning about where we put our money. So I have these personal rules when it comes to Homage watches. Number 1, it shouldn't be an exact copy with just a different brand name, because I never want to have that oh situation. Number 2, it should be good quality in relation to the price, especially since our money shouldn't go to waste. And number 3, bonus points if it's a watch that's no longer made. Which brings us today to Baltany's A11 watch.
Note that they sent this watch to me for review, and I don't have to send it back. Hence the inclusion of the sponsored items tag at the beginning of this video. With that said, I'll be giving you the pros and the cons of this watch as fairly as I can.
If you're not familiar with Baltany, they came out around mid-2021 and they set themselves apart on AliExpress by providing watches with smaller case sizes that are well made and relatively affordable. Last year, I bought the Baltany W10 watch, which I was happy with. So a bit of background about the A11. Back in World War II, the US military developed the A11 Specification to be issued to Allied soldiers, and it got the nickname the watch that won the war. Since, the Allied side won. They were produced by different companies like Elgin, Bulova, and Waltham. There were slight variations on how the A11 looked, but typically they had 32mm case diameter with 16mm slug width. They were also made with chromium-plated brass and acrylic crystals. The earlier ones had a white dial, but later on they were black. There are currently many companies that recreate the A11 watch in different price points. Some quartz, some automatic. So far, one of the companies that have hit that sweet spot between price and specs is Baltany. So I'm gonna explain why I think that, and let's first go over the specs. It has a case diameter of 36mm, lug to lug of 45mm, case thickness of 12.5mm, and a lug width of 18mm. While it doesn't follow the sizing of the original, it's been adjusted to modern tastes, but still small enough to keep the vintage appeal. The case is made with polished 316L stainless steel, a welcome upgrade from the chromium-plated brass of the original A11. It has a coin-edged bezel, which adds visual interest to the case. The case back has some engraved information, but I couldn't find anything about the engraved specification number. It has a boxy domed sapphire crystal, which has anti-reflective coating. The star of this A11 variant is the dial. It has this flat, rock texture look that's achieved with a hint of shimmer. This variant comes in this yellowish shade that I can't explain why, but reminds me of old high school labs in retro pictures, like paint or plastic surfaces that age through years of chemical exposure. The numerals are painted on, but they are a bit raised, so it looks like the Superluminova lume application was thick. It features a minute track along the outer edges with numerals at 10-minute increments. It uses a sword-shaped hour and minute hand with lume at the center, and it uses a stick seconds hand with lume paint at 1/3 of the way towards the tip. It comes with this brown leather strap in genuine leather, and the hardware is polished, matching the case. It's powered by the Seiko NH38, which is the no-date version of the NH35, a movement popularly used on watches in the budget range. It beats at 21,600 beats per hour and has a power reserve of 41 hours. It hacks, and it hand winds. It has a screw-down crown, part of the reason why it has a rating of 200 meters water resistance. 200 meters water resistance for a non-dive watch is a bit of an overkill, but I guess appreciated. Moving on to the review portion, I'll share with you the pros and the cons. First, the pros. Number 1, the unique dial. For me, the dial is the star of the show here. Out of my years of scrolling through watch Instagram, I've never seen a dial color and texture that looks like this. It's unique, and I like that they were able to give their own twist to the A11. Number 2, no ghost date position. If you don't know what a ghost date position is, it's when a watch has no date window but uses a movement with two positions, which is one for the date setting and one for the time setting. Companies often do this, perhaps for cost reasons, and some people get bothered by that. So it's great that Baltany listened to their customers and used the NH38 for this A11. Number 3. The use of well-made modern materials. Given how the original A11 was made with chromium-plated brass and acrylic crystals, Baltany has made this watch with 316L stainless steel and uses sapphire crystal. Overall, it looks really solid and it feels hefty and well-made. A much better value than those fashion watches, charging the same amount, if not more. Number 4. Good lume. While it's not crazy strong, it's still pretty strong. Here's a side-by-side comparison, and you can see both Baltany watches can compete with this Exciton 2 lume. Even after some time, I can still see the thin line of lume at the second-hand tip. Up next, the cons. Number 1. Sometimes, after setting the time, I have to push the crown in twice. At the first click, I don't see the second-hand move, so I have to push it again. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, and I'm not sure what's causing this. It's my first NH38 watch, so I'm not sure if it's a common issue with NH38. So if you have an NH38 watch, let me know if you've encountered this issue. Number 2. The hands blend into the dial. Because they're using light-colored hour and minute hands, it sort of blends into the light-colored dial. If you have bad eyesight, this one might be hard to read. I just wish they used hands with more contrast against the dial. Number 3. The leather strap on this was just so-so. After a month of using, it's starting to show some cracks in some parts. However, given the price point and the quality of the watch itself, I'm happy at least that they put most of their budget on the watch rather than the strap, because this watch would be so much fun to change up. I was thinking maybe get a stainless steel beads of rice bracelet so I can take advantage of that 200 meters water resistance. Given today's global economic situation, be conscious about the exchange rate fluctuations. Take it from me as someone whose home currency lost over 10% of its value against the US dollar in the middle of this year. In my head, I was still thinking of the old exchange rate, and I got charged by customs because it met the minimum threshold for it to be taxed. Check if you can buy them from your local e-commerce site, as it might just save you a lot of money. If you've been impressed with Baltany so far and you'd like to see another Baltany watch, check out this video.